sorry, I didn't even see you there. Wow. What an awkward coincidence that we would just meet each other like this. Okay, how's it going? Yeah, what's up? What's up? Oh, I have been collecting comics for a really long time. Thank you, 20 or so years. You wanna know about some tips for new collectors? That is a really, really good idea. In fact, I should make a video about that. That's a really good idea. What's up, guys? Tyler here, Super Squad D, where the D stands for, did you know that I've been collecting comics for over 20 years? Because I didn't realize that until I said it out loud, and God dang it, I'm old. Jeez, I'm so old. Anyway, I've learned a lot of stuff, mostly the hard way, out of all the time I've been collecting comics, and I wanted to give you guys my five essential tips for collecting comics. I think it's gonna help you out if you're a new collector, maybe some things you don't know or hadn't thought about. But let's jump into it. The first tip that I wanna give is when you jump into collecting comics, your natural instinct is going to want to be to get everything, to go nuts, to buy everything. Now, whether we're talking single issues, trade paperbacks, or hardcovers, which is what I primarily collect, your first instinct is going to be like, give me all of them. I want to get everything. Like, oh, you like Spider-Man? That's cool. Well, they have some omnibus of Spider-Man. Well, there's Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus 1 through 4, and then there's Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane, and then there's Spider-Man vs. Venom, and then there's Ben Reilly. We get the Ben Reilly stuff, the Clone Wars stuff, and it goes on and on and on. And your first inclination might be to try to get it all. Don't do that. One, that's gonna kill your wallet, and two, that's just not a good way to go about it. Don't do it! Pick something you think you're interested in and get it one at a time. Don't go crazy. Don't try to build a huge collection overnight. It will absolutely happen. Now, if we're talking about single issues, sometimes that can be a little bit difficult because you may find a good deal on eBay or something for a big lot of issues. If you're gonna go for any character, anything you like that you're interested in, start small and work your way up. That's my first essential tip. Number two, do not buy these things for resale. There is a big resale market for comic books. It's a speculator industry. It always has been, and it probably always will be. A large part of the industry will be speculating on first appearances and hardcovers that go up in value as they go out of print, and you can make money doing it, absolutely. But don't let that be the only reason that you buy a book. Buy something that you want because you're interested in it, or you love the character, or you want to read it. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to make money if you decide to sell it, or that you're going to lose a bunch of money if you don't decide to sell it. Did that make sense? That did make sense. But if you're buying comics specifically to sell, you're gonna have a bad time because you're gonna lose a lot of money, and as a new collector, you're gonna have a really hard time knowing what's gonna be hot, what's not gonna be hot, what's gonna grow in value. So it's tempting when you read these guys to be like, oh, I bought this first appearance of Deadpool, and then the Deadpool movie came out, and it went up like 5 times the value, and I made a ton of money off of it. Don't go down that route. That's a bad thing to do, especially as a new collector. You're gonna really regret it because you're gonna run into the fact that you're gonna buy a lot of things that you can't move, or you're gonna buy a lot of things that you think you're gonna sell, and they may sell, but you also may just really stress over it and struggle with the decision to do it, and it's gonna cause you some heartache, so just don't do it. Number 3, do not buy because of fear of missing out or hype. This is a hard one to follow, and I struggle with this myself following this rule, because your inclination is going to be, if everybody wants something, to want it. Like, that's super natural for a human being. Like, when someone else really is excited about something and everyone's excited about it and wants it, it just gets you excited about it. You just want to get it. I can tell you from experience that if you go down this road of only buying or primarily buying what everyone else is excited about, you're gonna find you're gonna end up with a lot of stuff that you don't really like. And that is a really bad feeling when you have a collection of things that you're not attached to and you don't really enjoy. And on top of that, if you're constantly buying because you're afraid of missing out, what you're gonna do is you're gonna not only hurt your budget, you're gonna hurt the reader inside of you, because you're gonna constantly be buying more than you can consume. And that is really frustrating when your collection grows to a point that goes well beyond what you can read. I've got a video out there that is about my reading plan for 2021, because I've found myself in that situation before where my collection is beyond what I can read, and so I'm trying to tackle that in a new way this year. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. But either way, buying because of hype or FOMO is not a good reason to buy, and at all costs, you should protect your mind, protect your heart from falling into that and wanting to buy because of that. This book is pretty straight. This isn't a book, it could be a book. This tip is pretty straightforward, and it's gonna sound like stupid, like everybody knows that, but you'd be surprised. Not everybody does know this. And it's take care of your books. Treat them with care. Keep them out of direct sunlight if you can. Make sure to dust them periodically. Make sure that when you're reading them, take off those dust jackets. Make sure to appropriately stretch your spine before you read the book. You want to handle these things like porcelain babies because they're not going to last forever if you treat them poorly, and it will decrease the value. And I know you're like, well, you told me not to buy books to sell, and that's absolutely true. But one of the best things about being a comic book collector is there is a certain comfort in knowing that your books, what you have in your collection, is worth something. And if you fall on hard times or you need some quick cash, it is sometimes necessity, unfortunately, to sell some of your collection. And in those instances, you're going to be really glad you took care of those single issues, that you bagged and boarded them when they came in, or that you kept really good care of your hardcovers, because that's going to go a long way in increasing the value and in general preserving your collection over a much longer period of time. Number 5, special effects. You already know our budget here is crazy high. This is the most obvious one, and yet the one that new collectors and old collectors succumb to more than I would say any other mistake. And that is, please stick to a budget. It is so important to budget appropriately for your hobbies, because let me tell you, there's almost no worse feeling than spending more money than you need to, and in some cases more money than you have, on a book that ultimately is not going to replace the food on the table or the gas in the car. That seems kind of extreme and kind of harsh, but some people need to hear that. And it can be really easy to do when, you know, we talked earlier about falling into hype and fear of missing out. It can be easy when you see everybody else spending so much on books and, I want to get these comic books, I want to read these issues. Please don't do that. Just don't do it! Because it's going to hurt you in the long run. It's going to hurt your relationship with the people that you care about the most. And ultimately, it's just not a good financial practice to get into. To recap, don't go for everything. Don't buy for resale. Don't buy because of hype or FOMO. Take care of your books, treat them well, and stick to a budget. Anyway, that's my top 5 essential tips for new comic book collectors. If you've been a collector for a long time, I would love to know what wisdom you would have to share with some new collectors, because let me tell you, I didn't even scratch the surface of all the stuff that's out there that could be told to new collectors. So anyway, guys, that's the video. I'm no guru. I don't know really that much about comics, but I can just tell you from the mistakes I've made in my past. So I hope you guys found this informative. If you did, hit that like button. Subscribe for more Super Squad G content, and we'll see you next time. Peace. Chakalaka from downtown. He's on.